Yeah, hey Robert. Hey, got your message wondering what the difference was between what we do and wholesaling, which is actually it's a pretty big question to unpack, so I decided to do a video here. Um, so I thought maybe I'd start with kind of what the common idea or the common model is of wholesaling. And most people, when they think of wholesaling, they think of, in the real estate world at least, they think of wholesaling houses. And I just looked up a definition really quickly online. So wholesaling houses is an exit strategy where investors find a discounted property, get it under contract, and then sell it to an interested buyer for profit. So some things about that is that this model requires finding deals at discounted prices, meaning that you have to go out and find distressed sellers, people who need to unload their homes very quickly and are willing to sell those homes under market value. And typically it needs to be quite a bit under market value in order for a wholesaler to create a spread where he makes some money in the middle. And this obviously is one of the biggest challenges that home wholesalers face, is finding those deals out there where home sellers will be looking to quickly get their homes sold and take a pretty big hit on the home's actual value. Another thing with this model is that it has one exit strategy. So basically you get a deal under contract and then you quickly need to find an investor to assign the contract to. And the idea there is, let's say you have a house that's, it's worth 200 grand when it's all fixed up. It's got 20 grand of fixing up that needs to happen. And let's say your investor needs to make a 15% return. Well, you've got to get that house basically at 200 grand, 200 grand minus 15% profit for the investor, minus 20 grand for the rehab costs, and then minus say 7 or 10 grand for what you're going to make when you get the whole deal done. So you can see right away these pulling these things together is a pretty big challenge for home wholesalers because they've really got to find someone desperate to sell and in need of quick cash. And that's your exit strategy. That's basically how you put those deals together. There's no opportunity for investment, meaning that you yourself, you can't fix the house up. You're actually not buying it. You never take ownership of it. And so there's no opportunity to go in and put a new carpet or put a new paint job on the thing. You're basically just getting it under contract and selling that contract. And the average return for wholesaling homes nationally is right around 7K. So you can see here at that kind of rate, you're not going to make any big dents in terms of building your wealth. You have to do multiple of these deals just to really kind of take yourself to a next level in terms of the types of money that you're making. Now, if we contrast that to our model, I know in the video we call it wholesaling land, and maybe not, we've never been a big fan of the word wholesaling because it conjures up so much of this idea here, but we decided, at least currently, to use that word wholesaling because it's really a word that people understand and recognize. And there are some similarities to this model, but quite a few differences as well. So the first thing in our model is that we put properties under contract at market value. And this is key. We don't go in looking for distressed property owners looking to sell their land very quickly and get some quick cash. We put our deals under contract at market value, which is just a much easier task than trying to basically steal property out from under people. We don't have to find distressed sellers. And so the value that we create, it's created in identifying the properties with development potential and then putting those deals together with correct development terms. And this is key because development terms are very different from the average terms you'll find in the purchase and sale of homes. So development terms are a big difference, and it's that we spend a big part of our course teaching folks what those terms are and why they're important, and we even give them a sample of the agreement that we've built over the past 18 years or so that we use on all of our land deals. So that's a pretty big difference, is that we're creating our value in putting these deals together as opposed to creating value in finding deals under market value, if that makes sense. A huge difference in our model is just the scale of the returns. So the returns are much higher, and really it comes down to the reason is that property that has subdivision potential, we create value through that. So for example, if a property can be subdivided into 30 lots, so let's say we go out and find a 5-acre parcel and it has the potential to be subdivided into 30 lots, and we sell that project, we get it under contract, and we take that project to a developer, and the developer agrees to pay us $7,000 per lot. Well, we've just made $210,000 on that deal. So a very big difference between the one-off deals that you put together in the home wholesaling model. And then another big difference here is that with our model, there are several exit strategies, and you can do a deal with no cash into it. You can put a deal together and put money into the deal, take it through, for example, the approval process, and in doing so, you're creating a more valuable project, which means a higher return. So if we kind of go back to this example of 30 lots, if you get that project through the approval process and you get it into the hands of a developer at that point, well, then maybe maybe he'll pay you $20,000 a lot, and then all of a sudden you've made $600,000 on that deal as opposed to 210, but still a vast difference between the home wholesaling market. So those are some of the big differences between our model and what people commonly think of when they think of wholesaling, and that's usually wholesaling houses. And I think one of the big difference here as well is, I'll just put it here real quick, mitigated risk. And so the key with our model is that we are not purchasing the property, and we are not funding the subdivision construction, right? And so that is where the highest risk comes in the land development world, is when you take a piece of property, you get it approved for subdivision, and then you close on it. And that closing typically is a multi-million-dollar deal where you're bringing in money to pay for the land, and you're also bringing in money to fund the subdivision construction. And again, our average deal on a low side will be probably all in $5 million, which is what we call an A&D loan, an acquisition and development loan. And that development loan goes into acquiring the property, so the acquisition, and so we get a loan to pay the property owner, and then the balance of that loan, the development side of the A&D, is money that is used to construct the subdivision. And anytime you start taking out multi-million-dollar loans, obviously your risk level goes into a different stratosphere, right? And so the returns are big. Most developers will see 7- and 8-figure returns on their projects, but they're also taking on huge amounts of risks to get to that point. Whereas with our model, we're saying, look, we're going to make six-figure returns, 200,000 up to 6, 7, 800,000. We'll do deals where we'll make in the 7 figures, but I would say on average we're in the 6 figures. But we're avoiding that big risk, which is purchasing the property and funding the construction. So hopefully that gives you a little bit clear of an idea of what it is that we do and what our model is. And let me know if you have any questions. All right, man, thanks.